And just touching on that Youth Player of the Year, well, you won it in that 2003 year, which is a fantastic achievement in itself. But to compound on top of that, the young fella who happened to win it in the East Conference was none other than Andrew Bogut,
yes,
who most of us know as being the first Australian #1 draft pick in the NBA overall. Did you get any mileage out of that?
Well, I think I got kind of screwed actually. I thought we were going to have a bit of a package and we'd go to the NBA together, but no, it never happened. But I thought we could have played one-on-one together and see who the best player was, you know. But you know they didn't want to do that. But no, it was good. Like you know, back then Bogut was he was a standout player, and you wouldn't never think that a year later, I think a year later or 2 years later, I can't remember what it was. He was #1 draft pick in the NBA. It's like wow, to play against someone like that was pretty cool. So and have the same award as him was pretty cool.
Right next to you.
Exactly.
That's something else.
Yeah.
And you've already racked up 200 games in the league. Obviously, having close to 30 games with the AIS prior to Pioneers. Yep. Does reaching 200 games with the Pioneers have any extra significance to you than 200 games in the league in general? Yeah,
for sure. That's something I definitely, when I retired, like I was sort of looking back and I think Sonia Knight mentioned to me that, you're on 170 something games, and that's fine. You decided to have a break or retire from the game, and I never really thought about it, but to actually have a chance to come back and actually bring up 200 for Mount Gambier is something very special, and it's definitely up there with the championship and all that. Just the club's been so good to me, and this is hopefully a reward back to them saying I'm going to stay loyal to you, and to bring up an award like that, it's just it means a lot to me.
And in doing so, you joined some pretty elite company in the likes of Jason Joynes, Jason Sedlock, who you've both played with before, and also earlier this year, Dallas Jeffrey. How does it feel to be part of such an illustrious club? Yeah,
to have past championship players in Jason Joynes and Sedlock is pretty special. But Dallas and I are great mates, and to bring it up in the same year as Dallas as well is fantastic too. And it's something that your name's always there now, and to be only 4 players in a real proud club like Mount Gambier is something very special. Yeah, very special.
And just going back and touching on your retirement or semi-retirement, you decided to take the 2011 season off completely to spend some time with family, having young family and all that. And you had the intentions of coming back as an assistant coach in 2012. What was it that made you think you want to have more of an on-court presence this year as opposed to just being an assistant coach?
Yeah, well, funny thing is I never really talked about being an assistant coach, but I definitely, it was something that I've always wanted to do, was maybe when I step back from the game is actually look at coaching. But I started playing with the Mount Gambier Lakers in the CBL and really enjoyed it. I have fun playing with Simon Bergfield, Matty Bergfield, and Joe Fergus Lane, and Flash, the coach, was our he was our assistant coach for Mount Gambier in the championship season, and Chris Mason was there too, and it's just good to get out there and just playing a bit of just basketball at that level, and it's like I just really got itchy feet. I saw the boys, I'm still close with most of the boys in the team, and kept in touch with them throughout that year, and then I spoke to Richard Hill and to come back, and he was pretty keen to to have someone like myself come back to the team. And it was just something I thought about it and talked to Melissa, and she was pretty understanding that it's something I wanted to do, and to have my kids actually, or Jamie, my youngest, he wouldn't really understand, but Shaden is 4 on Boxing Day this year, so at that age she sort of has an understanding that that's my daddy running out there, and to have her see me bring up my 200th game is pretty special to me. Yeah, that's something something I really wanted to do.
And it may sound like a bit of a funny question after all that's been said already, but out of everything you have achieved so far on the court, what has been a highlight for you?
Look, you can't go past the 2003 championship team. That's just that's just something that, you know, it's hard to do. Like, it definitely is hard to do, and to do both in 1 year is just fantastic. And, you know, it's hard to believe we've got our 10-year reunion next year. You know, so the boys are sort of talking about it at the moment. So it's actually, yeah, I mean, that's definitely been the highlight. But, you know, back as a junior too, to make, you know, the Institute of Sport on scholarship, and also to represent your country at junior level as well, is you know, is pretty special too. But definitely the 2003 championship was yeah, that's the icing. Yeah.
And has there been any one individual or group of individuals that have had an influence on your career?
Look, definitely my parents. You know, like, they always, you know, they weren't that pushy parents. They always just let me make my own decisions, and, you know, they supported me from day dot. You know, for nationals, you know, Mum would always come along no matter what, and you know, Dad always used to come and visit me when I was at the Institute of Sport. Just all that support, and you know, they never stood in my way of me moving to Mount Gambier. And I was only 20 years old when I moved down, so I wasn't really that old, and you know, they really have been really great role models for me. But, you know, everyone's got their own role model. You know, like, you know, I'm really close with Damien Anderson. You know, he was really good to me when I first moved to Mount Gambier. You know, a player you look up to. I remember when I was doing stats and he was playing for Brisbane in for Southern Districts in the QBL, and, you know, when he had 75 points in that game in 1990. Well, I don't know when it was 3 or 4 or something like that, and you know, I remember actually going up to get his autograph when I was doing stats the week after. You know, he's actually played for Moose. Has just been, you know, just things like that. You look back and you go, wow, you know, like the friendships you make, and that too. So definitely they're the people, you know, that have been a big part of my life. And, you know, there's a lot of people along the way, but they're the ones that stick out the most.
And in terms of other things you've done along the way, tell us a bit about your involvement with the Anthony Mundine squad.
Yeah, well, Timmy Duggan, one of my good mates from Queensland, well, he came down to play for Mount Gambier in 2004 and 2005, and he's got this program called Who's for Health, and it's a program targeted at young Indigenous kids and going around there in different communities and using basketball as the tool. And Timmy Duggan and Anthony Mundine grew up together, like they're best of mates, and Mundine was just like the ambassador for it, and, you know, I got to play in 2 of them, and, you know, as much as people say about Anthony Mundine, he's one of the most down-to-earth guys you'll ever meet. You know, like, you tell me one boxer that gets on the TV and doesn't promote himself, and, you know, like, he obviously says stuff that, you know, I asked him one time on a trip, I said, you know, when he talked about something he said about the World Trade Center, I said, what did you answer that for? And he goes, man, it was just one of those things I just said without even thinking. I'm like, oh, okay, no worries. But, you know, he doesn't drink, doesn't do drugs. He's just a role model for any kid, doesn't matter what sport you play, works hard. And but yeah, it's just it's a great program. It's still going, and Timmy's doing a great job with that. But yeah, to meet Mundine was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so Mundine, Bogut, you've shared company with some
some pretty big names. Yeah. Fair
enough. And what is it that you're looking to get out of the remainder of your career with the Pioneers?
Just you know, obviously it's all about team. You know, we haven't had the best year this year as far as our performance. You know, we know we've got the right team to get it done now. We've got that stable team, and, you know, the last 2 games we've won, and, you know, for the rest of this season, I guess, you know, for me personally, it's just to contribute. You know, I'm past those days now where I know I'm going to play 40 minutes, 48 minutes a game, but, you know, I've got to come in and just contribute and do the best I can, you know. And it's hard too with my work, you know, I do miss a lot of trainings and that too, and really I'm lucky Richard gives me, you know, the opportunity I get. So it's, you know, it's definitely, you know, for me personally, I just want to see the team be successful, you know, like just keep building and building, you know, and, you know, obviously this season it's probably playoffs are written off, but, you know, we're definitely going to work hard, you know, we'll weigh up the end of the season, you know, what we're going to do playing wise, and you know, and hopefully we'll look at building for next year as well.
And what's the first thing you'll think of when you take to the court for the first time against Kilsyth next Friday in your 200th game?
Oh, it'll just be a normal game. You know, we just, you know, I mean, in front of our crowd, we just want to win. You know, that's the first thing we want to do is just win the game. You know, if we win the game on 200, that's fantastic. But, you know, I'll just treat it like a normal game.
Now this one's off the cuff that just popped in my head then. For those who are out of the loop, Hollywood, how did you manage that nickname?
Oh, it was just obviously Kurt Russell, you know, the Hollywood actor, and it's just stuck. I think it might have been Gavin Mayle actually that that came up with that, I think, back in the early days. But yeah, it's just one of those things that just sort of got around, and then
it's
it
just stuck.
Just stuck. Yeah, you know, it's quite fitting to the name actually. So yeah, it's all good.
Very good. Thanks for your time, Kirk.
That's all right.
And all the best.
No worries. Thanks, mate. Cheers.